Hi, how is everybody this beautiful morning? You were just listening to my good friend Patty Schaffner play a little music. Her and I are kind of chit chatting back and forth about coming up with a theme song for my Cheeky podcast or whatever this is. Okay. Well,
Cheeky works.
yes. Okay, and this is my good friend Sharon.
Hello, how are you this
I'm
morning?
doing good. How are you?
Trying to wake up.
Yeah? Is it a little early for you?
Always.
Always.
I'm retired. I just.
Ugh, you're just like my mom. I'm like, what do you guys have planned today? Well, we're going to go to the doctor, and I thought we'll go to Myers, and then we're going to go back for a nap. I'm like,
When you hit our age, there's always a doctor in.
Yeah.
So it's always got to go to the doctor somewhere, some way, somehow.
yes. And that's exactly what she's got going on.
There you go.
The doctor,
Yeah.
and more doctor, and more doctor. All right. Well, Sharon, I called Sharon to come and be interviewed because on Saturday at 7:30 we are going to be part of an improv jam.
Oh, we are? No.
Yeah.
Just,
You better be.
yeah, I'll be okay. I'll be there.
And that'll be at Beatniks in Hammond.
Yep, Beatniks on Conkey.
Yes. And we are inviting anybody. Like, just let's say you have seen, shows with improv and you're like, hey, maybe I can do that. Come play with us.
Yes, come play. Absolutely. And even if you don't, just come see what it's like.
Yeah. And then
We always make people laugh.
yes. And after that, if you decide you want to, like, hey, I'm really good at this improv, I'm going to start taking Ron Harlow's class that starts on February 3rd,
February 3rd, 7 o'clock,
7 o'clock, Mondays.
Mondays.
Yes, it's a great, I love it on Mondays.
I like Mondays better than Tuesdays.
Yeah, well, Tuesdays are crazy for me anyways, but Mondays, I like it because it's kind of like, Mondays are just like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm driving to improv, and I'm going to be with like my family members, and we're just going to
Second family.
Yes.
The chosen family.
right. Yes, my chosen family, because I keep on coming back for the abuse.
Yeah, so me too. Yeah, that's,
So,
yeah.
all right. Well, let's start off the show. Let's get to know Sharon.
I'm a boring person.
You are not. Nothing is boring about you. Maybe now that you're
Okay.
retired, but you lived a very cool life, and I think you're very empowering to women.
Thank you.
In a whole, because there is no way in hell this girl would be a Marine. I can't even get up and do my exercises. I'm like, why is she yelling at me? And she's not. She's just telling me to do my, whatever bar blend terms, I learned fondue today. And that is the most horrible thing. You're supposed to like melt into your exercise. And so you're doing like this crazy thing with your feet.
Oh no,
No.
just exercise. Just push-ups, sit-ups.
Well, see, that's the Marine way. I'm trying to be elegant, and I look like the hippo from Fantasia.
I would look like the hippo from Fantasia on ice skates. Yeah, no,
that is
be very bad.
totally me. And it's like one of my friends is like, have you ever thought about exercising with somebody? I'm like, hell no. I'm embarrassed in front of my daughter. I'm not about to bring one of my friends in on this chaos.
Well, exercising with a friend or anybody, your spouse or whatever, actually does help you do better. It's almost like a competition. Oh, you got 9 of them? I'm do 10.
Well, that Mike and I have, I was doing a program last year at this time, and he was like, well, how hard can it be? I was like, okay, tough guy, go ahead, do it. And he was like, I gotta sit down a minute. I gotta catch my breath. I'm like, yeah, you didn't think I could do it, but look at you,
Yeah,
you're dying.
Yes,
So I'm like,
yes.
stick to yoga, sweet pea. Okay, so first question I have for you today, Sharon.
Okay.
Tell me about your childhood. You grew up in Northwest Indiana.
I did. I was born in Gary. I lived there until I was 10. I lived at 4th and Harrison, which Harrison Street at that time was, I think, the main entrance to U.S. Steel, so there was a lot of traffic.
Oh my gosh.
So my mother would say, go play in traffic, and I did. But I didn't get hit, so it's a good thing.
It was because nobody was going to work at that time. Or...
Oh no, we played there. We played in the streets and would wait until the last minute to
my
jump out of the
God.
way.
You're a mother's nightmare. Well, then again, she told you. I would never tell my kids to go play in traffic.
Well, my mother worked, so my grandmother was home with me all the time.
Okay.
So it says, "Come back," because she was from Czechoslovakia, so she had the accent and everything. And come back, you little son bitch! I beat your ass. So
All right. So, where did you go to school?
Well, when I lived in Gary, I went to Jefferson Elementary. Then when I was 10, we moved to East Chicago, and I went to Franklin Elementary, then Washington Junior High, which Washington High School had a junior high at the time, and then over to Joseph L. Block for 8th grade. And then my parents said, "Hey, we'll really make you an outcast. Let's send you to Bishop Knoll for high school." So, you live in the harbor, you go to Bishop Knoll, you come in that little uniform, and everybody goes, "Mm-hmm." I just painted a bullseye on me, so it's like,
So that's why you had to become tough?
oh no, I was tough way before that. It was my job to look after my little sister, and for some reason, people wanted to beat up on her, so I had to beat up on them.
Oh. Why did they want to beat up on her?
Because she was tiny.
You're not like 6'7".
No, but I'm mean.
You are not mean. Maybe you were mean back in the day.
Back
In the day, you were a scrapper.
Well, when your parents say that's your job, look after your sister, something happens to you, happens to her, it happens to you. You kind of tend to go with that.
Okay. Alrighty. So did you always want to go into the service?
I no, really, I did not. But getting into high school and getting into my junior year, everybody's talking about college and applying to college, and I got to go to college. I got to get my grades up. My grades were so bad that I don't think the worst junior college in the country would have taken me. So, so I didn't want to drive to Chicago, and I didn't really want to stay here. I just wanted out of Northwest Indiana. So I looked at the military as a way out.
Mm-hmm.
True story. I went down to the recruiting area because all the recruiters are all together.
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, I ignored the Air Force. And please, Air Force veterans, don't hate me. It was not personal. I went into the Army, and I thought, I can do this. And then I looked at the guy, and he had high water pants and green teeth. And I thought, there's no way.
That's something to aspire to.
Yes. So I thought, okay. My dad was in the Navy. Let's go look at the Navy. See, and there was this very fat petty officer with this cigar sticking out of his mouth, sticking up the room, going, "Yeah, what do you want, sweetheart?" And I thought, oh no, not doing that either. Then I walked, and I hadn't even thought of the Marines because I didn't think I could hack that. And I walked by, and there's these two good-looking guys, and they're dressed in their uniforms, and they're crisp, and they're pretty. So I walked in, and my mother's like, "You're crazy," and I'm like, "Eh." So kind of, yeah. So I enlisted in March of '73 before I graduated high school on a delayed entry program, and the rest is history. I did 3 years in there. It's kind of like being in prison because anytime you talk to anybody, well, how long you in for? What are you doing? So you give them your MOS and tell them how long you're going to be in the military for. So
Okay, so tell us a memory of the Marines.
Okay.
One of your favorite memories.
One of my favorite memories. I was 3 pounds overweight, so I did not get promoted. So I was a slick sleeve private. All I had were buttons and the everybody button, National Defense ribbon. That's all I had on my uniform. And I am walking across Henderson Hall, which is sadly no longer there. And I walk by the staff NCO barracks, and I hear somebody yell out, "Hey, Bam!" And Bam is a derogatory term for women Marines, for broad-ass Marine.
Nice. That's really nice.
That was sweet. So I figured, what were they going to do? Take my button? So I stopped, turned around, and said, "I'd rather be a broad-ass Marine than a half-ass Marine that you are," along with a few other words, which I was told I can't say.
No, Ron would prefer us not to use those words.
And then I thought, well, what are they going to do? Take my buttons? And I proceeded on my way, and I never heard another word. That was great.
Well, see, and what was it like being a woman? Were they like harder on you? Did you get picked on?
I got picked on by other branches of the service when they would try to do other things. The other branches didn't. One of the biggest fights I ever got into was shortly after boot camp. We went over to the Buford Naval Air Station, which is right next door to Parris Island, and it was me, a friend of mine, and 2 guys. And I am 18 years old drinking Harvey Wallbangers, sitting here having a good time. And there is a woman who must have just graduated from Navy boot camp over there. And we could all hear her just dogging out the Marines and saying crap. And we listened to this for about a half an hour. And I had my Harvey Wallbanger. I drained what I thought. I drained most of the glass. I walked over and I poured it over her head. And I uppercutted her right out of the chair. Right out of the chair. So we crawled out. I mean, that started just the biggest brawl in the whole world.
Oh, my gosh.
We crawled out, went the exit doors, and got in the car just as the shore patrol pulled up and started hauling people out.
Okay, now where were you stationed?
I was stationed at Henderson Hall, headquarters of Marine Corps in Arlington, Virginia.
Okay.
Then that is no longer there. They, in an effort to cut costs, the military has now gone with what they call joint bases.
Okay.
So Fort Myer was right next to that, so now it's Joint Base Myer.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of branches there. They gave all the property that was Henderson Hall, the Navy Annex, all to Arlington National Cemetery because they were running out of room.
Oh my gosh, that's depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing that they're running out of room. It's good that we gave the property to Arlington
right,
National Cemetery to do. I miss it. You know, that was my home. It was the home on the hill.
Okay.
And the barracks that I was in, just like I went through boot camp, they were temporary barracks built in 1943 for women. It was temporary. And they were still there in 1973. They were built in 43 and they were still there. Yeah, I just, you know, it's all different now, and that's a good thing. It was all different. When my sister went to boot camp 7 years later, it was all different.
Crazy. Just a 7 year, like in the 80s, it changed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just that quick. I went in at the tail end of Vietnam. Technically, Vietnam was still going on then. The last Marine didn't leave Vietnam until April 30th, 1974.
Okay.
So.
Do I tell you now that I was one?
You can tell me that. I don't.
I don't remember that because.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of, you know,
but you didn't go to Vietnam?
No, I did not. I did volunteer, but they said no, and because they didn't send a lot of women over there.
Okay.
They just didn't, because there was pretty much like overseas now, there are no safe zones.
Right.
Because they just blew up things to blow up things and see who they could kill.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. All right.
Next.
Yeah, let's move on to some
happy things. Happy things.
Yeah. Wow, on that downer. Okay. We asked you. Okay. Now, how do you land in DC after all of this?
I went to boot camp, and they sent me to what they call Business Personnel Administration School, which is a fancy name for typing class. So
well, I cannot see you.
No, really, nobody could.
Administration, period.
So there are like 25 women and 40 guys in this class. Okay. So I'm playing basketball one day, and I took the ball off the 3 end fingers, broke them all.
Oh my God.
So I'm in typing class, you know, trying to. I still graduated 33rd out of those 70 some odd people because the guys were worse than me. So they said, you know what, you can't really type. Where are we going to send you? We got to send you someplace where it's not really crucial. So they sent me to Henderson Hall, headquarters of Marine Corps. But technically I was attached to the Marine Barracks 8th, and I worked for the Marine Corps Institute, which is a correspondence school for Marines.
All right.
Yeah, so I graded papers and did all that kind of stuff. I know. But you know, it was my job, and it was fun, you know.
Okay, but how did you end up in DC though?
Because I can't type, because I couldn't type. Still can't type.
So they sent you to DC.
So they sent me to headquarters because they knew that position did not require typing skills, whereas going to one of like Camp Lejeune or Pendleton or one of the other bases that they could have sent me to required a lot of typing. But they know going to the Marine Corps Institute did not require a lot of typing. So they were like, all right, we're going to take care of you. Here you go.
Okay, so then from there, is that when you decide, I want to be a police officer? Or
no. Oh no!
We've got a couple more jobs in there.
Well, yes and no. I stayed. I did my 3 years in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And then
you did your time.
I did my time. I served my time. And then I decided that I should go into the Army Reserve.
Okay.
So I did that for 4 years and change, and then I decided that I really liked it out there, so I stayed. I didn't want to come back here. I wanted to stay in the D.C. area. I like D.C. D.C. is one of the prettiest cities you'll ever see ever. And it's got all the monuments, the Smithsonian's, and everything. How can you just not like it?
Right.
How can you not love that? And then I was in the Army Reserves with the guy. He says, hey, you should be a cop. And I'm like, what? He says, yeah, you'd be a good cop. Go take the test. They're having one next week. And I'm like, all right, why not?
I got nothing else to do. I think I'll become a cop.
So I took the test. And I passed, and they called me up and said, hey, they called me on a Saturday and said, if you want the job, you got to be here Monday. So I called, you know, it's like, yeah, I'll see you later. Burn that bridge real quick, so it was like, don't flunk out of rookie school.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we before we came on, we talked about a cop story. You do not have to mention that. But what is one of your favorite stories about being a police officer in DC?
Oh, wow. Something I can tell on the air.
Without cussing?
Well, all right.
Positive?
One of my favorite stories was the little old lady who called up because she couldn't get in her house. And she was probably, on a good day, she might have been 4'8".
Oh.
Just typical little old lady. She's like in her 70s. She goes, I can't get in my house. I need you to help me get in. I said, well, how do you want me to do that? She goes, kick my back door in. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, just kick the door in. It'll be fine. So I kicked the back door in. She goes, sit there. Points to her kitchen table. She goes, I got milk and cookies for you. Sit. So, okay. So I sat down. She comes back in. She's got a mouthful of nails, a big hammer, and a plate of cookies. Sets the cookies down. Says, I'll be right back with the milk. And she starts banging the door, nailing the door shut again.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, how am I getting out of here?
You're a prisoner for life.
Yeah. Okay, well, at least I get milk and cookies out of it. But no, because there were a lot of break-ins in that neighborhood, that's what she did to keep her house safe. Oh. Which is sad, but it kicked my door in for me, kid.
Right. How about get a set of keys for your front door, and then we don't have to nail
Well,
them?
she left her keys in the house. We did find the keys, but...
Did you get your milk and cookies?
I did. Oh, yeah, you won them, too.
Okay. Now, how was being a female police officer in D.C.? Was that challenging?
Yes, because D.C. was one of the first departments to put women out on the street. They did that in 1972 or 3, I believe. So me coming along in 79, it was still relatively new. They had just stopped. When you get in the car and you clear for action, you either go 10-4 or 1099. 10-4 means you're a two-person unit, 1099 single. Okay. So the guys would get in the car and go 1099W, which meant they were alone with a woman. They had a female officer with them.
Wow.
So they had just stopped that when I got to my assigned station. And it was tough because you had to not only be as good, you had to be better than the guys on some things. You know, and I knew women that would get into a fight and they would hide in the car. I knew that happened. It was a woman I went to rookie school whose name I will not repeat, but she did that and caused a couple of people to get hurt. So you have to go out there and show that you can actually, I'm earning the same amount of money as anybody else that came in with me. Go out there and do your job.
Right.
You know, if you get your butt handed to you, then you get your butt handed to you, but at least you have the satisfaction of knowing that you tried. Right. And trust me, I got my butt handed to me several times. I've been thrown off porches, down steps, over cars, bottles busted over my head, you know.
So was your pay like the same as a man's?
Yes.
Wow, that is in the 70s.
Well, this was
almost 80s.
I was hired. My claim to fame in the Washington, D.C. Police Department was I was the last person hired under the old retirement system before D.C. became its own little entity. Okay. So technically I was hired by the federal government. So that's the guy that came after me had to live in D.C. and had a whole different retirement plan. Oh. I could live, if you stuck a pin in the Capitol building with a string and 25 miles and drew a string around, I could live anywhere in that area. They had to live physically in D.C.
Wow.
So that was my claim to fame. That was because I knew the guy that got hired after me actually came to the same station I was at, and he goes, "I hate you," and it's like, "Thank you. Have a nice day."
Join the list.
Yeah. Join the crew.
Okay, so then how long were you a police officer?
I was on for 10 years before I got hurt.
Do I want to know how you got hurt? Do we need the censor button? Censor button. Where is it?
No. Actually, no. I worked with the Ceremonial Honor Guard, which means we presented colors for parades and anything that they deemed that we need colors. Plus, we worked funerals for active duty and retired members. We were doing a funeral for a retired member, and the woman behind me either slipped or tripped, but she let the casket in order to keep it from not going anywhere. I grabbed and held on. And I shredded everything in the shoulder you can shred. Ligaments, tendons, muscles, rotator cuff. I shredded everything. So.
Oh my gosh.
And they said, hey, you know what? We're going to pay you. Go in peace. And I went, okay, see you later.
Okay, and at this point, did you head back to Northwest Indiana?
No. By this time, my parents had actually moved out to Maryland with me.
Oh, very cool.
Because they were both looking for jobs. There was nothing here. So I said, hey, come on out here. So they both found jobs.
Very cool.
So they stayed out there. And then after my mother passed away, my dad says, I don't want to be here anymore. And I'm like, okay, I'm retired. I can move back to Northwest Indiana with you. Why not? So we moved back here.
Okay. And your sister at this time?
She stayed out there a couple more years, then she moved back here.
Okay. So you all came back to Northwest Indiana.
Yes, it's just a bad penny. You just can't keep me away.
Okay. Well, Ron is telling us we need to take a break.
It's break time.
It's break time. Okay.
I'm going to put some music on for you, too.
Okay, we're going to play some music. And are we doing commercials as well? All right, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to get something to drink. I'll let Sharon get something to drink since she's been telling us some really cool stories.
Yeah, now we get to Northwest Indiana.
When we come back, we'll get some more questions about why did she decide to do improv? Why did she decide to come to the theater? I mean, all of these crazy things. Why would a Marine badass want to do comedy?
Stand by for that answer.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, let's go to some music.
Tori's Dental Shop in Cherville is a dentist to the stars. Her wealth of knowledge in the area of pain management, plus her ability to communicate the process, makes you feel like a star. The practice is growing for all the right reasons. Call and set up an appointment before her client book is full. Call 219-322-4036 and tell them you heard about it right here on Ron Harlow Media. Dr. Tori's Dental Shop is located at 130 East Joliet Street in Cherville at 219-322-4036. Call and feel better about every dental visit you ever have again.
Spend the holidays with us in downtown Hammond, Indiana. You'll have a fun and festive time while supporting small and local businesses. Enjoy shopping, dining, brewery, the arts, and events. Like and visit the Downtown Hammond Council on Facebook for a listing of where to go and what to do. Call Karen at 219-512-4298 between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Hammond is happening.
Looking for a friend who knows how to be a good listener? Humane Indiana in Munster has four-legged friends waiting to meet you. Open daily at 11 a.m., Humane Indiana provides many animal services from rescue to daily care. They provide on-site education while managing a wildlife preserve. At the main facility located at 421 45th Street, the staff awaits your visit. Ron Harlow Media would like to thank Director Brian Fitzpatrick and Board Vice President Scott Filler from Apex Construction and Remodeling for their support. Visit Humane Indiana and leave with a new member of the family. To find out more, visit the Humane Indiana website or dial 219-922-3811.
We are taking the hassle out of holiday shopping at It's Just Serendipity. Gifts for everyone on your shopping list for every budget. We carry everything vintage and antique, handcrafted, upcycled, and repurposed goods by local artists, yummies prepared by local vendors such as honey, toffee, and biscotti. Carry decor, memorabilia, and custom gift baskets. Shop small with us at 5630 Holman Avenue in downtown Hammond, Indiana. Like It's Just Serendipity on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, or visit our website, itsjustserendipity.com.
Experience Broadway in Northwest Indiana. Established as the top provider of entertainment, Theater at the Center in Munster brings you the best in live theater, music, and comedy without city prices and parking hassle. With its elegant setting and superb talent, Theater at the Center in the Round makes each production must-see. 5-star dining is optional for select shows in each of the Thursday night performances. For show dates, times, and prices, visit theateratthecenter.com or call 219-836-3255. Ask about becoming a subscriber. Discounted tickets and priority seating are just a few of the benefits you'll receive. Call 219-836-3255. Theater at the Center. You'll leave impressed. Now listen to Harlow tell you about what's on stage right now. Since 1964, Springer Realty has been helping homeowners save thousands when buying or selling their home. Springer Realty is locally owned, provides full service start to finish, and will handle all the paperwork and details. Why pay those high commissions in a seller's market when one phone call can literally save you thousands? Visit us at SpringerSellsHomes.com or call 219-838-0180. Springer Realty.
play today? Playful activity can be anything from taking a walk to your favorite neighborhood deli to picking up a game of soccer with your friends. But most importantly, bringing a playful mindset to everyday life can elevate your mood, increase your energy, and your thirst for life. I'm Crystal, the Playful Trainer. I'm a health, life, and fitness coach. It's my passion to help you find playful ways to get you active, achieve your health goals, and live a more fulfilling life. My new book, The Playful Journal, has been featured on the Make My Day podcast, TuneIn radio show, and in the Northwest Indiana Times. I'm available for individual, group, and online coaching, or I'd love to speak at your next event. You can find me at theplayfultrainer.com or on Facebook or Instagram. Stay playful.
Who's ready for a Polish? Stop by our bigger, better location at 918 Carroll Street in Roxana, East Chicago. With our expanding menu, Big Frank Sausage has drinks for all ages. So tell us you heard it here right on Ron Harlow Media and receive $1 off any beverage of your choice. Okachum on tap, as well as delicious new appetizers and homemade corn dogs. Family dining and catering available. Look for our booth locations and events on our Facebook page. Call ahead to order or to hear more about us at 219-378-9556. You'll rave about our Sunday brunch from 11 to 5. Come sit in our lengthy bar and enjoy all of our favorite sporting events. Big Frank Sausage, as seen on Chicago's best. Great food, great sports, great entertainment. Smacznego I na zdrowie.
Okay, Ron, did you want to make an announcement for what's...
I do want to make an announcement. You heard him right there. You heard Theater at the Center. That's one of our fine sponsors. We got a great show coming this Friday. Echoes of Pompeii will be on stage Friday. 7:30 is The Doors Are Open. Shows at 8. It's a fun show. They do Pink Floyd, believe it or not. Our friend, Crystal Cater, has just joined the band, is now a new vocalist and keyboardist for the band. Very, very talented. And I want to give you a quick heads up on February 7th. Mike Tooby's coming in from Chicago. He is a TV news anchor, and he will be headlining. Of course, host Nick Geza will be up there as well, along with another comedian to be announced. Again, that's February 7th. Dinner starts at 6:30. Dinner and show is $45. The show by itself is $30. 5-star dining. The menu is up at cvpa.com. Cash bar is also available. Give them a call at 219-836-3255 or visit theaterthecenter.com.
See, and the best part of this is watch this. I can get rid of Ron. Like, we could just mute him.
We can mute.
I know. We need that for our improv.
Yeah.
And taking 2 down on the mic. All right. Well, we're...
Wait.
And he had to ring a bell because that's what he loves to ring his bell.
Does that mean we're gonna fight?
Yeah,
No,
right.
No, I think that means that we have to give a new choice.
Okay. All right, new choice.
New choice. All right. Well, we're back with Sharon, and once again, this Saturday at 7:30 at Beatnik on Cockney and
Conky. I know you're married to an Englishman, but it's Conky, not Cockney.
I didn't grow up here. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, come and play improv with us. If you're, on the fence, like, do I want to take a class? Are these people normal?
No, we're not normal.
We're
but
not normal.
Come take the class anyway. If nothing else, come see us.
Yeah, come play with us.
It's fun.
Yes. I mean, and the fun thing is that we have so many people there with a lot of experience, so we can help you. We'll throw gifts at you, and you'll get to know some of the new terms and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and by throwing gifts at you, she doesn't mean literal ones. She means word gifts.
Well, see, I was trying to bring them in. Like, they're like, wait, we're going to get free gifts? Well, yes.
my bad, then.
So, whatever.
Yeah, no gifts. No, sorry.
Okay, so let's start out with that. Why did you, what, improv? Why improv?
Okay, it started off, I'm a Weight Watcher, have been most of my life.
Oh, girl, so am I.
So
we're dropouts.
Yeah, well, so I'm at Weight Watchers meeting one day, and I'm cracking people up. I do this week after week.
Oh my God, we should have been in the same
we
place.
Probably all would have been, yeah. So
we could have just been like, you need to sit down. Let us do this.
Yeah, we got this covered. So one of the women said, you're really funny. You should go do stand up. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm that funny.
Yeah.
So then I got a flyer in the mail from IUN that they were offering a stand up comedy class.
Very cool.
And I thought, well, this is
It's a
kind of
sign.
it's a sign. It's a sign. All right.
From the Weight Watchers guys.
Yeah, yes. You know, it says you need short, chubby people. No, I mean, so I signed up for the class, took the class. A guy running the class had a gig at Beatniks, which had just opened. I mean, like 2 days before we did this thing.
Okay,
there.
so what year are we talking?
2008.
Okay.
Because this is Beatniks' 12th year. Just had their anniversary show Saturday.
Okay.
So I do the stand up there, and Bonnie Johnson and Rip Johnson, who owned Beatniks,
Yes.
they decided Kim Bernstein started this thing called the Beatnik Babes, and it's basically it was a fundraiser to help Beatniks raise money to stay in business, and Bonnie thought I would be a good fit with that, so they asked me.
And you are, because I've seen you.
Thank
and
you.
It was, I mean, that show was so much fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We have fun doing it. We have
Exactly.
we have
And
fun.
like, you told me it was Carol Burnett's show.
On steroids.
On steroids.
It's basically what it is.
Yes.
We're a little more risque than Carol, but not much.
Well, you can be.
We can be. Oh yeah, we can. We can be. So I stuck around to do that, and I was just very happy that they never told me to go away, and they kept saying, "Hey, you want to come back?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure, yeah, I'll come back."
Now, did you do sound or something there?
I do tech work for some of the plays there. I move props. I'm not somebody who can memorize a lot of lines and get out there and be, four score and so. No, that was never going to happen. I will be happy to move whatever props you want, and that includes the actors, because I've been told that they're just props that walk and talk. That's what I've been told.
Well, it's kind of, that's like when Gail first talked to me, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I know Sharon." And I was like, "How do you know Sharon?" And she's like, "Oh, when I did a play here, she was whatever."
I'm doing the tech for in April for a show called Deception.
Ooh, well, now what's that about?
It's all I know is it's a mystery. I just got asked to do it Saturday.
Oh, very cool.
So they haven't even cast it yet. I think they're looking for people now.
So do you want to? Do we promote that? Like,
sure. If you want to go to Beatniks and try out, go to the website and find out when the tryouts are.
I mean, they seem to have a lot of shows there because we're next door doing our improv, and they always have something going on.
Yeah. Well, not only does Beatniks do shows there, but Hammond Community Theater, that's their home base too, so they do shows there as well. Plus, Crystal's starting her tap dance class again.
I do have tap shoes. Gail hung up her tap shoes. Meaning, "Here, Erin, do you like them?" I'm like, "Oh my God, they're Mary Jane's. They're so cute."
Yes.
And then I wore them around. And at that time, Hazel was taking tap. And I'm like, "Oh, we could tap our way into people's lives." And I tried the shoes on. It was not going to happen. I'm like, "No, this will hurt my feet." And
well, yeah.
Maybe, I mean, who knows? That might be in my stars. I mean, I'm doing this for, nobody told me. Like, "Hey, do you want a show?" Sure, why not?
Why not? Crystal keeps telling me I'm a natural, and it's like, no. Natural klutz, but that's it.
It goes back to that hippopotamus thing.
Yeah,
that's how I do. I'm like, dude.
I mean, we could be here another hour for me to describe everything I've broke, bent, and tore in my life. So let's.
That might be another show.
That's a whole.
We could just put up a thing of a body.
Yeah, we'll just put a body here. Yes.
Or we could just circle what doesn't hurt.
Oh yeah, well yeah, or what I didn't break. Yeah, it's probably easier.
Okay, now I've done a lot of improv with you, and it's only been what 2 years? No, not even a year that we've been in the same.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how much. A year and a half. Let's just because I started in the fall.
Okay, yeah, we can go. Well, that's fine. You bond really well with the people you work with because if you don't have the faith in them, you can't.
Yeah, and we've had people come in, and we've they just never trust us. Like, trust us, we've got the
Yeah, we've got you.
Once you nail down that trust, it is on. Like, we can rack out some awesome scenes.
And the thing about improv is there's very little that's not on the table.
Right.
You can take it wherever you want to go with it.
Well, and like our fearless leader decided to make us bubbles in a beer mug.
Yeah.
That was always a trip and a half. Yeah. And you and I nailed it. We did awesome. We did a good job.
Yes, I felt like but it worked. But it worked because if you trust your partner, if you say something and you give them the gift of something that they're going to take it and run and just have a good time with it.
Right. I mean, I've been a plastic bag. I've been one of those fun things that like, "Hey, come
you guys did that. Yeah.
I mean, it's so much fun. And what I do like about improv is for a chance that, I mean, my kids have been blessed with me doing improv for over 15 years for them. And now it's like I can go out and do it for myself. For like, hey, this is my time to be funny. This is my time to be Aaron. Well,
yeah, you
and not Aaron.
Get Aaron you, not Aaron the mom.
Yes.
And that you need a break away from who you really
right, and that's what's so
who
perfect.
you have to be.
Yeah, and it's very therapeutic.
It is very therapeutic.
Because if somebody is pissing me off, I come gangbusters as that person at improv.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, what Ron Harlow did one day was Adam was there, and he's like, "You guys are going to do a scene, and Adam's going to do this, and Sharon, you're going to be snarky." And Adam just looked at him and went, "Really? You give her the easiest thing in the world. She's always snarky."
Okay, but this year he decided, the last class that we had, he decided to tell me I had to be positive and I couldn't be snarky. And that was the hardest.
I know, you can't.
I'm just like, and then he tells me that I have to be like a guy trying to pick up chicks coming out of Catholic school. So I was like, hey, you look really good. I bet you know your Bible verse. It was the hardest thing to say positive things without.
I used to work for a guy who says, I only date Catholic girls because, you know, they're easy and then they go to confession and it happens all over again.
Well, it's like George Carlin said, like one of my favorite things that one of the many things that George Carlin said is that he's like, why do you think Santa's so happy? He's got a list of all the naughty girls.
There you go.
All right. So I've done a lot of characters with you. What is your favorite character? I know which one of mine is I love when you do like the interview where you.
Oh, where I don't speak English,
right?
Where it's gibberish. That's one of my favorite things to do because I get to do. I get the Hank Banks show. I get to do a lot of arm waving and I make stuff up as I go and make people, you know, with the motions you make people see what you're trying to convey.
And you and Suzanne have got it perfected. It is just.
And you know what? I'm more loud and boisterous, and Suzanne is just very shy and quiet, and she'll wait for me to 5 minutes to just get out there and just do this, and she'll go, no.
She says no.
Yeah, she said, no, it's not going to happen.
I do also like when you channel your grandmother like you did before.
Yes, my the Baba come to me, grandma. I'm gonna go. Yes, I like my stoner character too. Like, dude,
right?
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, I have several favorite characters.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, and that's just it. It's like you can be like this crazy character and go home and I get in my car and I'm just like, man, that was a good character.
It was fun. It was fun.
Right. And then I get home and I'm so amped.
I know, and it's like, now what?
Right. I'm like, I want to like shake Mike awake and be like, I was so funny tonight. You should hear what like, he doesn't care.
Yeah,
like,
no.
He's like, lady, I have to work tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, go away. And you're like, no, what am I going? Well, I got all this energy and I got nothing to do with it, you know. And you're not. I got cats, and I'm like, hey guys, and they're like, look, see the claw? Go away.
The murder mitten.
Yeah, the murder mitten. Yes. Well, they don't. Because one of them decided that I look like a tree, and she would scale all the way up, and then she would kamikaze off of things onto my back. I looked like I had tried to run backwards through so I had their front claws taken out. So now they don't do that. But I know people are like, oh, that's mean to do. But
I think you need to leave my show right now. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was either that or you know, have more doctor bills.
Well, I mean, while you're out and about, you can go to wounds and
go to the wound center. Yes.
Okay, so what is the one thing that you're most grateful for? That's a tough question, huh?
It is a tough question.
I mean, after all of what you've been through. I'm grateful that you're still here.
Okay, well, what I tell people this all the time. I'm proud of certain things. I'm most proudest of being Jim and Marge Harbert's oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of being Fran's oldest sister. I'm proud that I serve my country. Yeah. I'm proud that I serve my community. And I'm happy that I actually went to college and passed and got a degree.
I wish you could type better, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were younger, what did you want to be? I'm sure you weren't like 5 and going, oh yeah, I would be a Marine and a cop.
I wanted to be a cop back when I was 5, 6.
Really?
But there were no, you know,
Yeah.
there were no police women. There was a gentleman that lived down the street from me in East Chicago when I lived there. He was he was the nice, very nice black man. He told me not to give up.
Wow.
He told me not to give up, and I used him as a reference when I applied to the police department. He wrote me a 7-page reference letter.
Wow. Do you remember his name was?
Oh, yes. His name was R.C. Henderson.
Very
and if he's
cool.
out there listening, thank you and God bless you.
Yeah. How awesome.
And it was that I think that put me over the top to help me get my job as a police officer. His last I heard, his son was out and he was a California Highway Patrol.
Wow, that is a really cool thing. So even like little 5-year-old Sharon was like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I can be a woman cop.
Yeah.
And how do you say that you don't empower women? Like, listen. I mean, I am just like in awe.
I guess I figured because I fell squarely in the middle of the baby boomer generation.
Yeah.
That women came before me and after me that did better things.
Yeah, but you also helped other women pave the way.
Well, I'd like to think I did. Whether or not I did is another story. But I like to think that maybe I left a positive impression on the police department. That when other policewomen came up after me, guys didn't go, "Ugh, I got to work with her."
Right.
You know, I was a part of the first all-woman scout car. We call them scout cars. We were partners together in the cars. That had never been done.
Wow.
You know, put 2 women together. Now you see it all the time, commonplace.
Right.
But
see, and that is something that you paved the way.
Well,
you were part of paving the way.
Part of paving the way.
It wasn't like you were,
Not
but
like,
you did help that.
I'd like to think I did a little, maybe. You know,
you're boring. Whatever. I can't believe it. First thing, I'm boring. Are you kidding me? This is awesome.
You know, everybody thinks it's awesome. It's just my life.
Right.
You know, it's just, this is what I've done. People make choices to do certain things, and these are my choices.
Right.
So I had, you had to learn to live with them. So it's just...
All right, we're going to do like some questions like I asked Gail. So I don't know if you watched it or not.
I'm sorry, I did not.
That's okay, cool. Then these are all new questions.
All new questions, yes, indeed.
Okay, if you could get on a plane tomorrow, where would you go? Not Vegas.
Hawaii.
Why
Hawaii? I love Hawaii. I've been there once. I would go back in a New York second. If I had the money, I'd live there.
Wow. When it's like $4 for a gallon of milk, I'm sure it's more.
You know what? I don't drink milk.
Problem solved.
But you know what? You hear all these things and you look at the fine print all the time. Say, oh, slightly higher in Alaska and Hawaii. When I was over there visiting, I found that it wasn't that bad. I wasn't sticker shocked. Okay. What was shocking was to go into like 7-Eleven and see hot dogs and a block of rice shrink wrapped together and saying, here's breakfast. And Spam is really big over there.
Really?
Yeah, I guess from...
You know what? I just heard that on a podcast yesterday. I also heard that they don't know what mashed potatoes are.
I didn't know that, but
January Jones was vacationing there for Thanksgiving, and she just wanted mashed potatoes. Oh, and nobody knew what mashed potatoes were.
I don't think, I don't know that they actually grow them, or they would have to, they pretty much import everything there, so.
Yeah, so, French fries is like a staple at every restaurant, it seems like. So
yes.
They did have French fries, but they didn't have mashed potatoes.
Well, yeah.
See, I mean, I'm sorry if that's wrong, but that's what January Jones told me.
You know what?
Personally.
You know what? I can live with no mashed potatoes. So
I could probably too. We didn't grow up with that. My mom didn't make mashed
potatoes.
Oh no,
my dad was a meat and potatoes guy. So we had meat and potatoes every night.
We had meat and veg.
Well, except for
lima beans.
Except for during Lent, and then we had grilled cheese and eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, we like I was just telling somebody the other day, like Perkins, and we'd go to Perkins and be like, oh, we can get a hamburger or something. My dad's like, no, you can get pancakes because they serve breakfast all day. And it was like we could have breakfast or we could have mac and cheese or,
Now, see, my dad was Southern Baptist, so he really didn't care a whit about Lent. So he had meat. He said,
Well, it was funny because my dad he was a devout Catholic, and he was like, by the book. But then, like, I guess, I don't even know if this really happened, but my dad said it happened, so I'm just trusting my dad on this.
You got to trust your parents.
Right. He was like, well, the Pope says that it's okay for people that are senior citizens to have meat during Lent. And I was like, now, is that because you want a cheeseburger, or do you did he really say that?
Well, I know that they came back and said that you didn't have to abstain from meat.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that really upset my mother and my mother's side of the family, who were all Catholics. Are like, no, it's going to hell in a handbasket.
Right. Well, this is all my dad, bless him. He was also the one that his doctor said to take fish pills, and he would be like, take me to McDonald's. And I'm like, why? What's going on? He's like, I forgot to take my fish pill today. I need a fillet of fish. I'm like, Dad, that is not the same thing. I mean, my dad and his self-medicating. Tattoos. Let's move on to something else. Tattoos. Do you have
Not
any?
a tattoo. Not
Would
a
you
one.
ever get one?
You know what? I'm a coward, so I got to go with no. I don't like.
You
I don't
are
like,
a Marine and a cop.
I don't like needles. I don't. My sister had tattoos.
Okay.
And if she had survived, she would just about talk me into getting a tattoo, and I probably would have had one. So, but it's like I talk to people and they're like, oh, it hurts and you got to take care. And it's like, I am far too lazy to do any of the care stuff that has to be done to get a tattoo. I'm just not doing it.
All right. Okay. Well, we kind of just talked about this, but would you rather beach, forest, or city, or farm?
I got to go with beach. Not that I like sand. I hate sand, but I can be far enough back from that just to sit, because it's warm.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, I'm sick to death of cold.
Right.
I you get 8 months out of the year here, and you're wearing a jacket, and for.
It's funny because my son asked me, he goes, why do we live here? And I was like, because this like crappy weather makes us so appreciative to like go other places and see other places. If we lived in Florida all the time, it just wouldn't be as special. And he's like,
yeah, whatever,
all right,
Mom, yeah.
whatever.
And then
whatever helps you sleep at night.
People who don't live around any of the Great Lakes, when you go lake effect snow, they go, what? I'm like, I have a picture on my phone where lake effect snow in front of my house, 19 inches in like 6 hours. No. And you go a half a mile either direction, there was no snow.
Well, Crown Point usually misses that. Usually. Like, I have friends that live in Michigan City, and they will get hammered.
Michigan City.
Yeah, they will get hammered. I'm like, why are you guys sledding? We don't have snow. And it's like they're building snowmen and stuff.
Yeah, it's, and you can actually go down 8094 heading toward Michigan City, and you can see the wall of snow just on the interstate going, oh crap, time to turn around.
Yeah, we moved to Crown Point in May of 2013. And then in 2014 is when we had that like 6 foot of snow, and like you were trying to get out of your driveway, and it was like you couldn't even get out because it was like wall to wall snow everywhere.
And I remember the blizzard of '67. We lived in East Chicago then, and it was a duplex. My bedroom you could actually open a window in my bedroom and walk right out onto the snow. That's how bad it had drifted up against the house.
Well, that's like I saw the other day. I was looking at the pictures that happened in Canada, where they got like 16 feet or something ridiculous. Like they're opening their garage door, and he's like, "Yeah,
well, why?"
Well, and they had to call in like the army and stuff to come bail out
people because you get that much snow that quick. There's really in DC when it snows like that, it is because you get people from all over the world, many of whom have never driven in snow, and DC area's got some hills.
Yeah.
And they will stop at the bottom of a hill, which y'all know you shouldn't do. They will get halfway up, get stuck. They will stop, get out of their cars, lock it, and walk off the road. So there you are trying to, bob and weave your way home, and it's just like, why are you, why?
Yeah. Well, Mike came over from England in 2000, and I want to say that winter we had like a wicked snow. Like I remember them sending us home from work because it was coming down so much that they were like, you know what, go home. So Mike was like, a little kid like pressed up at the glass, and he's like, will it ever stop, kind of thing. And just today in my Facebook memories, Hazel was about maybe 2. It was the first time he's ever been sledding, because they don't get that, they get
a little here,
and there, but they're like, they panic, like, oh my God.
When I was in the Marine Corps, there were a whole bunch of us that were from the Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and in DC, if it snows like this much, they shut everything down. The federal government shuts down. Everybody goes home. So there's a bunch of us. We're like 18, 19-year-old kids. We're out there having a snowball fight, waiting for the bus to take us. We were working in D.C. at the Navy Yard, and we lived in Arlington, waiting for the bus to come and having us a good time. And people are like, "Aren't you worried about the weather?" It's like, it's 26 degrees outside. Why should we worry? It's just a little snow.
It's crazy.
I know.
Well, it's like I have a friend that lives in Florida, and my friend right now is in Florida visiting the Keys, and they're freaking out because it's like 50, 60 degrees. And it was funny because my friend is in the Keys, and she's like, check out this chick on her boat. And she's bundled up. She's got a scarf on and a parka. And I was like, Florida people are so funny. Like, it's 68 there. And here, people would be in shorts and tank tops.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
woohoo, summer's here.
You go out to Vegas and you let the humidity get above, like, into 10%, 11%. People are like, oh, it's horrible. I can't take it. I have to stay inside now. It's like, really? Wait, come visit us. You have 60, 70% humidity. Come see that.
I look like a Wookiee because my hair's like this big.
Why do you think mine's this short?
I'm just like, this is, you can't breathe because it's so humid.
You can't say, everybody sounds like that.
Why the hell do we live here?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, more questions.
Okay, if you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
Oof, that is an interesting question. Smarten up. We only have one world, and we're all one people.
Amen to that. It's kind of like you're watching what's going on in Australia, and you're just like, we're screwing up our planet right now, people. Can't you see?
And I want to say props to you for knitting more little things for things.
Thank you.
I think that is just absolutely fabulous that you knit the little baby Yoda hats, and you're knitting these other things, and kudos to you. My mother, God rest her soul, tried for years to teach me to knit, and it just never took.
Well, that's like, Hazel's like, can you teach me? And I'm like, well, like, the person that taught me how to knit was my Aunt Lois. In 7th grade, she was like, is there a way that I can teach you an experience, or like give you something I could give you instead of a gift? And I was in 7th grade, and it's like, yeah, that's totally cool. I'm like, I've always wanted to play the piano. She's like, okay. Lesson number 2. I'm like, fat fingers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like a mess. And she was like, the sweetest woman in the world. And she was like, is there anything else that you would like to do? And at the time, it was, because I got it for my birthday, so it was November, and I was like, well, I would love to make my mom a gift. And she's like, okay, I'll teach you how to knit. So the first project that I ever did was I knitted my mom a pair of slippers for her birthday, which is February 22nd. And I would go over there on Wednesdays, and she would be getting dinner ready, and I would be knitting, and she would pick me up after work, and then I would go over, we'd knit, she would make dinner, and it was just awesome. And then they offered it to my brother, because my Uncle Johnny, these are my great aunt and uncle, my brother wanted to do woodworking. And so my Uncle Johnny and Brian were down in the basement, and he was teaching Brian how to make awesome things with wood. And I was upstairs learning how to knit, and my mom was, comes home from work, and it's just my sister. She probably loved it. Like, oh, thank God, 2 of them are gone. And we were fed well, too, because my Aunt Lois was a wicked, awesome, cook. So it was like, yes, I'll go over and eat at Aunt Lois's house.
Not a problem.
So that, and she just passed away last year. So that was, like, the hardest thing with the Yoda hats. Like, oh my God, she would be laughing her ass off to see me like on newspapers, like holding up baby hats and stuff. Like,
I know.
This would have blown her away.
I was looking at that, I know her.
Well, and that's just so weird is that like I did an interview like with somebody, and he was like, well, this will air, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden people were like messaging me, you were on NPR this morning. I was like, what? this is just weird. I just made Yoda hats.
I made it into People magazine and Ebony magazine.
What?
Yeah.
Your life is boring. I'm not in People
No,
magazine.
I'm not credited in any of the pictures, but you can clearly tell that it's me arresting people.
Who did you arrest then?
The one in People was Congresswoman Pat Schroeder from California. Or not California, Colorado. And Representative Mickey Leland, I believe he was from Texas. He was killed several months after that over in Africa trying to take supplies to one of the nations over there. His plane crashed. But yeah, I was in both of those. You can clearly see it's me. When my mother found...
Because you're like this.
No.
Deuces.
My mother found
Going
out
down, bitches.
that I was in these magazines, so I had to go out and buy. So there's, in Walgreens, I'm buying like 30 copies of People magazine. And the guy's like, really? What are you doing with all this? I'm like, I'm in one of these. And he's like, yeah, whatever. So I'm like, here, it's right here. Look, see, I'm in it. And he says, oh, crap. So he bought one and had me sign it.
Well, I have not signed any autographs, so you're up on me on that one.
Yeah, okay.
But after the Yoda thing, everybody was sending me, like, the article about how koalas needed mittens, like, for their hands because they were so severely burned.
Yep.
And I was like, make koalas mittens? Yes!
And kangaroos need...
They needed pouches and stuff.
And mittens and...
So when I went on to this Rescue Australia crafters website or whatever, they said, do not send any more koala mittens. And I was like, damn, I wanted to make koala mittens. And so I decided that what I was looking and seeing what like everybody was doing, the bat pouches were really cool. And I was like, oh, I want to do those. But tons of people were doing that. They had pouches that you hung up. So the Joeys, they would take them and put them on like clothes racks. And so there's all these pouches that are hanging as 3D pouches. And so you have all of these like little Joeys like peeking out of these hanging pouches. I was like super adorable.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, everybody's doing that. So I did the nest. I crocheted a bunch of nests because everybody wants to help the koalas and the Joeys. And I'm like, well, what about like birds and like other other
So you did that and I thought snakes and I thought, well, all right.
Well, you know what?
They got to live too.
Well, I don't want to sound totally horrible, but it's like when those people post, this was in Australia, and the like spider is the size of a door.
Yes.
I'm like, now did those things get burned up, or are those the ones that are like surviving out there in the ashes? Like, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's like that spider from Harry Potter.
Yes.
Aragog, yeah.
That's probably how big they are now after the fires. It made them stronger. Yeah, so I did that, and then I decided Hazel wanted to help, and so I decided to do the pouches, and so I went to an estate sale, and I was like, I'm gonna look and see if they have flannel sheets because flannel is very expensive if you go to Joann Fabrics,
yes.
and then it would be soft already. And then I love the Key estate sales people, and Priscilla is just phenomenal, and she said, you take them and you make those pouches, okay? And she's like, it's a gift from me to you. And I was like, that is huge because flannel is so expensive. And she gave me like 2 king size sheets, and
wow.
that way we almost made 20. We made I think 19. Wow.
That's awesome, Erin.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's kind of like I want to show my kids that like doing something like this, you can still help people.
Give back.
Right. And it was really kind of cool because besides my oldest one who was gaming, you're too busy gaming. Can you pause your game to come help animals? No. But like Ted and Hazel bossing around Ted was phenomenal because I showed her how to do it, and then Ted came in and she's like, "You're doing it right," like she put him like right.
Put him in his place.
Yeah, she was very good.
Well, she's the only girl. She's going to put both of those boys.
Right.
But God help the guy that comes to date that poor child.
Well, if Jack's not gaming, I'm thinking she's never going to date. Because Jack will be like, yeah, is he cool? I don't even care. Kind of. Mike will be a force to reckon, too.
No, your husband's going to stand there with a shotgun going,
But it's a Civil War gun, so he'll be like, yeah, get off my porch, and then pull out, like, the cornmeal thing and stuff it in there. You better run, because it's going to make a big, loud noise. Like, it's not going to be effective.
Okay.
I'm going to blow your eardrums out. But,
well,
yeah.
Still,
but, yeah. But, no, so then Mike came in, and he's like, oh, you guys are still working? And Ted was, oh, my back is hurting. My fingers are hurting. And me and Hazel are just powering through. And he's like, I'm going to take a break. And then that's when Mike came in. And Hazel's like, I'll show you what's going on in here, Dad. She took over, showed him. So I had Mike cutting. Hazel was trimming. I was sewing. I mean, I think it was like 3 hours and we made all those pouches.
Well, that's great.
Got the whole family in on that.
There you go.
I can do what, I'm trying to do what I can do. Raise some good kids.
Sounds like you're doing a hell of a job.
Well, school's made, I don't
know. I think, school, people rely too much on schools to teach their kids how to be people.
Yeah.
And there's too many kids in a classroom for that,
Yeah. And I'm the parent that whatever the teacher says, I'm believing them first. So you better have a really good excuse. Because I'm on the teacher side.
When I was in school, from kindergarten through 12th grade, I took a note to school every year that said, if this child misbehaves, punish. Send note home, we'll punish again.
I remember my mom signing when I was in first grade, maybe second grade, maybe even kindergarten. I remember my mom signing a thing that they could hit me.
Oh, see, I did not get hit. Because I wasn't so afraid of the teachers, but I knew if I took that note home that...
Well, and that's what I think my kids are at.
Now, my sister, on the other hand, my little sister, God love her, was a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed, cute as a button kind of child. Never said more than 2 words to anybody after our grandmother died. Never talked. So she went to kindergarten. First day of school, she comes back with a note, hands it to my mother. My mother reads this, and I peek over her shoulder because I'm sitting next to her, and it says, had to punish Frances today because she wouldn't stop talking in class. And my mother folded the note back up, set it down on the dinner table, looked across the table at my sister and said, how come you don't talk to us? And my sister, with that little innocence of a 5-year-old, looked at my mother and said, I didn't have nothing to say to you.
You people bore me.
and I'm like, oh, please don't let me laugh, God. Please don't let me laugh. Because I knew, just as sure as God made green apples, that my mother would have backhanded me into next year.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, well, I mean, and that's what I think my kids are at. Like, Ted and Hazel, I mean, Jack, man, that kid did some stupid stuff at school. And they saw him get in trouble. Like, Jack decided that one day that he was going to leave his regular classroom and go to special ed. And he was bored with his general teacher, so he's like, deuces. And he just got up and left while she was writing stuff on the board. She turned around, Jack's missing. Well, Jack had to take a dump on the way to general classroom to special ed classroom, so he goes to the bathroom. Well, she calls down to special ed, do you have Jack? No, where's Jack? School goes into lockdown. I get a call. Do you have Jack? Like, Jack is missing. I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden he shows up in special ed, and I'm like, so he got in the car, and I'm just like, would you like to explain? He's like, I had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, lock down the school?
Raise your hand. Say, I have to hit the head.
Yeah. And so what it came down to was, like, my kids saw me like, and then he would go into, like, we were like, okay, you got to work off your punishment. Give him a pooper scooper. He's out there cleaning up poop in the backyard. And the other two are like, oh, hell no. Are we going to do anything that this kid has done? He just paves the road for them.
Well, when you're the oldest,
yes.
you tend to do that. You know, you were the great experiment.
It was all lies. Like, he was the best baby ever. And I was like, we should have more lies. It was such a trickery. Like, amazing baby. And then it was like, oh, after that it was like, and then I give him a brother, and then they're in a ball all the time. I literally would have to take one kid and put another kid, like, and sit in a restaurant between them, and they'd still be like reaching for each other, like, I gotta kick his ass, you know, and just stay away from each other.
I think that's a little boy thing.
Oh yeah, to this day they'll sit on the couch and it'll start with this, and then all of a sudden, I mean, Jack's 5'10" now, so he takes little Ted and he's throwing him around. I'm like, oh my god, we don't have the insurance for more broken bones. Nobody do anything stupid.
Oh, see, my parents had insurance, but we never went to the doctor. Dude, I broke my ankle. My mother said, suck it up, wrapped it up, and sent me to school. You laugh, but I knew I had broke that ankle.
Well, I broke my foot in college, and my friend who was like, "Oh, it looks fine to me. You're fine," and totally slaps it off of her foot, off her leg. She's like, "You're fine." I go to the dining hall, and my foot, I was wearing Birkenstocks, and so my Birkenstock, like it wouldn't even, it was like crying out, like, this foot is not fitting in this anymore. And so I had to go. I was like, "Mom, I'm going to the doctor. I think I broke my foot." And she's like, "I don't even want to know how you did it because I know it was stupid." And it was. I was running through the bathroom, chasing a guy that had my remote. I think he had my remote for my TV. Steve Malachi, watching you. And I slid on the floor and I broke the side of my foot.
Oh no! See, the first conscious injury. Well, no, it's, there's several of them. There's several of them. I managed to, when I was just over a year, I managed to escape from an escape-proof crib. You know, they had those metal bars that would go up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got out of that. That's why the top of my head is flat, because I fell on the top of my head. I slammed my left ring finger into the door, which is why my finger doesn't go natural.
I was, because it was the 70s. I was sitting on my mom's lap in the front seat. "I'll be your airbag, Mom," and shut the door. And we're driving, and my mom's like, "Is that your mitten on the outside?" And I'm like, "My hand hurts so bad." And my mitten is like blowing in the wind outside. I'm just like, see, my kids don't get that fun stuff because they had to be in car seats.
They have car seats.
My
now,
mom
see,
was fine.
I slammed this finger, my trigger finger, in my car door when I was on the department. I was out in the back of the parking lot, getting ready to go in for my shift, and they had just put in a keypad in because we had a guy try to come in and shoot up the station. So I managed to get my finger out of the door, and I'm just bleeding like a stuck pig. It looked like a death trail just leading up to the.
So, you're in the parking lot.
Yeah, so I'm walking up.
Wasn't even out on the hard streets.
No, I'm not. So now I'm at the back door now, and blood is just. And I got blood all over my hands, and I'm like trying to hit the keypad to get the numbers in there. And now the keypad is all bloody, and I yank open the door, and I go down the stairs, and I walk into the roll call room, and there's this sergeant whose name I won't say, but we just called him Mad Dog.
Well, God, with a cool name like that.
Yeah, well, I have several stories for him. So he's standing there, and all the color just drained right out of this guy's face, and he went, "Oh no, oh no, oh no," and I'm like, "I need to go to the hospital." "Oh, yeah." So we go upstairs, and a trail of blood goes up the stairs. So my friend Paul is there, and he's like, "I'll take you." So he takes me to the hospital in my car, brings me, and I'm sitting there, and I got. Nobody had a Kleenex. There was nothing. This was no paper towel, nothing.
Back in the 70s, there were no first aid kits or tissues.
So I get over there. Now I'm holding my hand up, above my heart, and the nurse is like, that's what you got to do. And I'm like, okay. So they take me back there, and this guy's got this big syringe, and he fills it full of this liquid. And he goes, and all this blood and bone and debris come flying out of my finger.
Hope everybody is enjoying their breakfast.
And the sergeant came to see how I was doing. He was a very nice black man. And the color just drained right out of his face like somebody had poured paint on him. And he said, "I'll get you later, Harbert." And away he went, and the guy went, "Was it something I said?" And just stuff is flying everywhere. It took 6 stitches to close up my finger.
Oh my! In the parking lot.
In the car. And it was a Pontiac Sunbird, so it's like slam that right. And I don't know how I managed to just slam one finger in the door. Just one.
Okay, Ron's looking at the clock. Yeah, we're going to take
All right, we'll take a break.
We're going to say goodbye to you now.
Wait, you gotta talk about it.
I'm going to. Relax.
You're saying goodbye, like
I'm
after
going
the show?
I was going to say goodbye to Sharon, but one of her things at Improv is we all have to stop and read her shirts because her shirts are epic, snarky, awesome shirts. So, would you like to stand up so people can? Cause
What do we got?
Well, what do we got today? I forget what I put on today. People should seriously stop expecting normal from me. We all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's great.
So thank you, and I will definitely see you on Saturday.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like you're going to just walk out and I'll never
I'm
see you again, but I will see you on Saturday for sure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. I've had a good time.
I told you it was going to be easy, and
fun.
you're not a boring person. So thank you, and we'll be right back. And then I am going to my new segment called For Fox's Sake, because I can't say the F word, which is really hard for one person. So For Fox's Sake. And we're going to talk about mom stuff. I've been on Facebook reading these articles. Oh my God, the articles on telling me how to parent. I'm like, Ron, I don't know if I can not cuss, because some of these are just horrifying. Like, these mothers are crazy. And so today we're going to talk about one of the articles that Ron had sent me. And if you guys want to have me rip apart an article that you thought, hey, this is something that Aaron could totally rip apart because this is crazy parenting, feel free to tag me, send it to me, PM it to me. I would love it, because next week another friend of mine sent me this article, and I immediately sent it to Ron and said, I'm going to have to cuss on this one because this is craziness. So the article that I am going to talk about is on the Cheeky Mom Facebook page. You can check it out there. And when we get back, I'll talk to it. Thank you again, Sharon. And I'll see you on Saturday. Right. Saturday, Improv Jam. Come play with us.
Beatniks on Cocky. Come down.
All right. 7:30.
7:30.
All right.
Played today? Playful activity can be anything from taking a walk to your favorite neighborhood deli to picking up a game of soccer with your friends. But most importantly, bringing a playful mindset to everyday life can elevate your mood, increase your energy, and your thirst for life. I'm Crystal, the Playful Trainer. I'm a health, life, and fitness coach. It's my passion to help you find playful ways to get you active, achieve your health goals, and live a more fulfilling life. My new book, The Playful Journal, has been featured on the Make My Day podcast, TuneIn Radio show, and in the Northwest Indiana Times. I'm available for individual, group, and online coaching, or I'd love to speak at your next event. You can find me at theplayfultrainer.com or on Facebook or Instagram. Stay playful.
Who's ready for a Polish? Stop by our bigger, better location at 918 Carroll Street in Roxana, East Chicago. With our expanding menu, Big Frank Sausage has drinks for all ages. So tell us you heard it here right on Ron Harlow Media and receive $1 off any beverage of your choice. We now have craft beers, Żywiec Okochum on tap, as well as delicious new appetizers and homemade corn dogs. Family dining and catering available. Look for our booth locations and events on our Facebook page. Call ahead to order or to hear more about us at 219-378-9556. You'll rave about our Sunday brunch from 11 to 5. Come sit in our lengthy bar and enjoy all of our favorite sporting events. Big Frank Sausage, as seen on Chicago's Best. Great food, great sports, great entertainment. Smacznego I na zdrowie.
Spend the holidays with us in downtown Hammond, Indiana. You'll have a fun and festive time while supporting small and local businesses. Enjoy shopping, dining, brewery, the arts, and events. Like and visit the Downtown Hammond Council on Facebook for a listing of where to go and what to do. Call Karen at 219-512-4298 between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Hammond is happening.
Looking for a friend who knows how to be a good listener? Humane Indiana in Munster has four-legged friends waiting to meet you. Open daily at 11 a.m., Humane Indiana provides many animal services from rescue to daily care. They provide on-site education while managing a wildlife preserve. At the main facility located at 421 45th Street, the staff awaits your visit. Ron Harlow Media would like to thank Director Brian Fitzpatrick and Board Vice President Scott Filler from Apex Construction and Remodeling for their support. Visit Humane Indiana and leave with a new member of the family. To find out more, visit the Humane Indiana website or dial 219-922-3811.
Experience Broadway in Northwest Indiana. Established as the top provider of entertainment, Theater at the Center in Munster brings you the best in live theater, music, and comedy without city prices and parking hassle. With its elegant setting and superb talent, Theater at the Center in the Round makes each production must-see. 5-star dining is optional for select shows in each of the Thursday night performances. For show dates, times, and prices, visit theateratthecenter.com or call 219-836-3255. Ask about becoming a subscriber. Discounted tickets and priority seating are just a few of the benefits you'll receive. Call 219-836-3255. Theater at the Center. You'll leave impressed. Now listen to Harlow tell you about what's on stage right now. Since 1964, Springer Realty has been helping homeowners save thousands when buying or selling their home. Springer Realty is locally owned, provides full service start to finish, and will handle all the paperwork and details. Why pay those high commissions in a seller's market when one phone call can literally save you thousands? Visit us at SpringerSellsHomes.com or call 219-838-0180. Springer Realty.
I am back. I'm going to lower that. And let me...
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Ron Harlow from Ron Harlow Media here. Let me tell you what's going on at the Theater at the Center, one of our fine sponsors.
Do.
Friday night, Echoes of Pompeii will be on stage. And it's a great local but touring band that plays the tribute band to Pink Floyd, our own Crystal Cater from The Playful Life, one of our podcasts tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., by the way, for a plug. She has just recently joined the band as a singer and keyboard player. Let me highlight, of course, February 7th, which is Mike Toomey headlining at the Comedy Night at the CVPA. Just go to cvpa.com or theateratthecenter.com for more information on tickets for all these shows. 219-836-3255.
And that was the sultry voice of one Ron Harlow. Okay, I can't hear. I hope everybody can hear me because nobody else has headphones on.
Right. You crank it.
I got it cranked up. Okay. It looks like it's going. Okay. So Ron sent me this article and he was like, is this really true? And I never really have thought about it before. Studies are saying that parents getting their kids ready just in the morning alone equals 10 hours a week. And that's why so many parents on Friday are so exhausted. Like they were like, why are parents just so exhausted? It's because it's so crazy in the morning, getting your kids off to school, getting them ready for daycare, whatever the case may be. Parents are like getting so stressed out about it. And I can totally relate to this because I do have 3 cherubs, and I have 2 kids that go to junior high, and they have to be, well, Jack is like me, and he has to be always on time for things. And I created that monster, and so I just live with it, and I just deal with it. He has to be on school at time. Like, he is freaking out. School doesn't start until, I guess, 7:35. I don't even know. He has to be there at by 7:15, or he's a mess. He is a panic mess. So we have to leave the house around between 7 and 7:10. I come home, I do a workout, or I might have breakfast or whatever, and then I got to turn around and I got to get Hazel to school she likes to be early too. I have these kids, I'll tell you. Hurry up and wait. That's what I do, and that's what they like to do now too. So Hazel, I drop her off around 8:40, and she doesn't start until 9:05, but she's socializing, and so I guess Jack is too. But I can totally see this happening. It has when we first moved to Crown Point, I decided that I was going to be June Cleaver. So every morning I had the breakfast laid out. And while they were, I would read them stories and get them ready for school. And I was being the, obnoxious mom. And well, that got old really quick. And they also learned how to make their own cereal. So in the morning, they make their own cereal, whatever. So this year, I have two boys getting ready. They get up at 6. They have to be out the door by 7:10, let's say. And they decide that they're going to do this together. They're going to both wake up, both have breakfast together, and then go upstairs and fight over the shower. And I said, you know what? No, we're not doing this anymore. So we did a shift. And we are doing that now where Jack comes down, Ted takes a shower, and so that has been saving us some time. I know parents do different things, but this is what I've been doing, and it's been kind of working. And what's nice is that I get to spend time with just Jack alone, and which it doesn't really happen anymore because he's 15 and he's too cool and he's got to play video games and he wants to hang out with his friends, and mom's just in the way. Like mom's telling him what to do. Mom's giving him laundry to put away. Mom's making him do the dishes. So it is kind of cool that I get to spend time with him. And then when Ted comes down, Ted has breakfast and we hang out too. And then they fight and then we go off to school. So I can there are days where I just come home and I sit on the couch and I'm like, just enjoy the silence while you have it because it is chaotic in the morning. So some of the things that they were saying in this article were like laughable because some of the things I'm sure it would work in some houses, not in mine. One of the things that they were saying is that they would love to put out all of their clothes and have everything ready for breakfast in the morning. Maybe make us some frittatas and they can heat them up. Okay, that's not happening at my house. I can tell you that right now. First of all, they have to sort and find their clothes to begin with because I may fold and they put away, but then they're like, Mom, I don't know where I put my socks. You put away your stuff, so you need to find it. Lost shoes, whatever. It's a nightmare. Those are the little, Jack will come down after his shower and be like, where are my shoes? And me and Ted will just sit there with our coats on waiting for him. And he goes into a mild panic. What has been happening, because in junior high, it's like the lines are too long, so they have to make their own lunches. So Mike has been getting up early and he's been making himself some sandwiches while he has the bread and stuff out. He's been making everybody sandwiches, which has been huge and a time saver for Jack, who needs to take a 45-minute shower. And that's a whole different topic of what my kid is doing for 45 minutes because he does not smell good. He does not smell different. I don't even want to know. So 15-year-old boy in the shower for 45 minutes. That's a whole different day. I did. This article was very interesting because I have turned things around to make it easier for me in the morning as well. Mike has been going into work earlier, and for me to have any time without kids bothering us or talking to us, I've been getting up with him, and yes, it's 4:30 in the morning, but at the same time, it's him and I have, he has his breakfast and I get to talk to him. We'll watch Bravo and watch my crappy, reality shows. And we kind of catch up about what our days are going to be, what bills have to go out. And it's kind of like our time before all of the chaos. So he leaves at 5:30 and then I have a half an hour where I can just do whatever I want and just breathe. And then it's 6 o'clock. Boys, time to get up, and all hell breaks loose. So as I'm reading this article, I agree with a lot of stuff, and it is very stressful. I mean, you don't even have to they don't even touch on the carpool line. I don't understand why some parents just don't get carpool. 5 cars pull up, 5 cars pull away, drop off your kid. We actually have parents that get out of their car and open the door for their children. Are you kidding me? If we want to do that, park up so you and Schnookums can have your secret handshake and say goodbye to each other. I have a kid I got to get rid of so I can go and do my day. It's always been like that. Any school that I've lived in, Frankfort, Illinois, and now here in Crown Point, I don't get it. And you know who screws it up the most? Grandparents and fathers. Oh my God, the grandparents are like pulling up on the sidewalks and bye poodle. Oh, Grammy loves you. Just drop them off. Like just let them open their own doors. I mean, good gravy. So yes, that has to be factored in on the mornings too, because it's like all of this like little tiny like like stressors, and it's just, and that's why segment is called "Oh, for Fox's Sake," because that's what I scream, but I say the real word instead of fox, because it's just people. Your kid is no more special than mine. My kids can get wet when it rains because that's what rain does. You don't have to like literally drive them to the door and say, okay, poodlekins, get out here and run. You might melt. It's insane. But I think that's it for today. I just wanted to I wanted to do a little alone time. I wanted to talk about being a cheeky mom, because when it comes down to it, whatever. See, Sharon doesn't have any of this fun stuff. But yes, so next week I am going to have one of my really good friends. She is in her 80s and her name is Louise Moore. And we are going to talk about during the 50s in Northwest Indiana, children were tattooed for their blood types. So I think you need to tune in and hear her side, because she was O type and she had a tattoo, and it is the most crazy thing ever. I've never heard anything about, like, I was on listening to a podcast, and when they were talking about this, I was like, wait, what? This happened here in the United States? This happened here in Northwest Indiana, people. So she'll be on. She's going to talk about her being a mom back in the, like 50s, 60s, and what it's like. She is just one of the most magnificent women you will ever meet. She's just heart of gold. Totally love her. She's like I have like a piece of like a grandmother I never really had, and it's so awesome to have her in my life. So I'm going to share her with you guys. All right, and have a great week, and see you next Wednesday. Bye.